it say 3, 2, 1?
Starting.
It started. Hello! We have a new camera person today. Shirley is our new camera lady, so we're trying things out a little bit new. We're doing a family affair.
Right.
But we're here in the back of the store today talking about plumbing, because Labor Day weekend's coming up, and wait, I guess you didn't turn off the radio.
I guess not.
We thought we turned off the radio, but it's still going on. Anyways, Labor Day weekend's coming up. Sometimes you get a little extra time on Labor Day weekend and you want to spruce up around the house. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to swap out some fixtures, maybe do a lighting project. But we're here with plumbing today because it's always nice to have a nice shiny new faucet. If that's been on your list for a while, we're going to show you how to do that today and give you some plumbing tricks.
Right. And with the Labor Day holiday coming up, if you come in the store, you'll see these little tags hanging around, and it's just got a caricature of me on there that says that I recommend this. One thing that I really recommend, and one of my contractors that does a lot of work for us, he brought it to my attention. You know, these are Sharkbite caps, and if you've got one or two of these in your drawer at home, and you happen to have a leak over the holiday,
You want to see it?
copper pipe springs a hole, you know, whatever, you can go in there and take a copper tubing cutter, cut the pipe where the leak is. All you do is press this on. That's a watertight seal. And then you can hold off on that plumbing call until a regular work day, and you won't have to pay that holiday rate or the overtime rate.
Yeah, these are neat. They don't have anything in there but little teeth that hold on into that pipe. But this might be something you want to have on hand too. This is a pretty big pipe cutter. We've got little ones that are about that big that if you put in your toolbox, it doesn't take up much space at all, and they're not very expensive either. Now, this one has a blade on it. You're not going to see it.
And I want to demo this right now too.
Yeah, they're easy to use.
It's not difficult to do. If this were the pipe that was leaking and you needed to make a cut, you're just going to put the tubing in the wheels of the cutter. And this thing's got 2 guide wheels and then the cutting wheel. And I'm going to cut this off to a 1 foot length because we sell it in 1 foot lengths.
I'm assuming you measured already.
I have measured. Now, the first thing you want to do is just put a little bit of tension on the cutter, and you want to make a half circle, and then come back and make the other half circle. And the reason you do that is because you don't want this thing to spiral. You want it to. And I think this one is trying to spiral on me now, but that's what you don't want to happen. But anyway, you continue to apply a little bit of pressure. Rachel, if you'll hold that end out there. You don't have to, but I just don't want it to fall on the floor and make a real bad sound.
And when it's in your house, it's not going to be wobbling around.
Right.
It's going to be one end connected to something and one end connected to something else, right? Woo!
Nice clean cut, and that's what you want for these Sharkbites to work properly.
Don't stick your finger in there though, because it is sharp.
It is.
You know, someone learned that along the way. Not saying who.
Right.
It wasn't me.
I'm going to come back to some of the things I've got here on the table, but I want Shirley to zoom in on this right here. I've been asking Shirley to replace this faucet for weeks now because I'm getting tired of using the vice grips for a handle for the hot side.
Is that really what
Well, sure.
you've been using?
The handle's missing.
Yes, I see that.
There's a lot of folks that use those kind of handles.
Yeah, it's handy.
Okay, but what I'm going to do is, this is not a difficult replacement to do. You can tell we set it up temporarily for the filming purposes so that you can see what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm going to get out of the way.
Sorry about turning my back on
Here we go.
the camera.
We're all over the place.
Ordinarily, you would be working under the sink, and there is what holds this faucet to the sink.
Do you need to come over here?
I'm going to hold it up.
Okay. I don't know how we're doing this.
A little tight behind us here. There's going to be 2 of these nuts under the sink, and then I've already taken one of them off. And the other thing that's going to be under there is your supply line. And the reason I'm going about it the way I am right now is I want to show you some different types of supply lines. this nut goes on right here, and that's what sandwiches the faucet to the sink itself. Then the supply line, the one that I picked an old one here, was like this. If that's what you pull out, I'm going to show you some options. It's going to be much better. We're going to come back and we're going to put this nice shiny faucet on this sink. But depending on when your house was built, you might find a supply line like this, or worse, you might find a supply line like this. Do yourself a huge favor and replace it with this. And it's so simple. I mean, all you do, you screw this on to the bottom, put a wrench on it, give it a little extra turn. You don't have to really torque it down, because this supply line has a rubber gasket inside that meshes with the bottom of the nipple under here. Makes a nice clean job. Now I'm going to move around to the front.
I'm going to hold on to these. Sorry.
Yeah. Depending on when your house was built, what you may find coming out of the floor or out of the wall, you may find copper tubing with a male adapter soldered to the end. That's fine. If your house was built earlier than, say, the 70s, you may find these nice shiny chrome nipples. It could be a 1/2 inch diameter, or it could be 3/8 inch diameter. They're fine too. A lot of times these were used when the plumbing was exposed. It may have been a wall-mounted bathroom sink before vanities came into style. That's why they use these nice shiny ones.
You know, those wall-mounted ones are coming back into fashion.
I know. Like I say, depending on when your house was built, if it's fairly new, you're probably going to see PEX tubing. It's going to have still going to have the same basic 1/2 inch pipe thread on the end, just like the copper.
Feel like wizards.
Or you may have CPVC. CPVC pipe is rated for hot and cold water, but there again, it still has the same fitting. The difference in the PEX tubing between the red and the blue is simply to identify the hot and the cold. Now, once you've identified what type of supply line you got coming through the floor or out of the wall, it's a good time to replace the supply line valve. And the reason I tell you to replace it is this is a valve that rarely ever gets turned on and off. The new ones, the old valves were rotating. You had to turn them all the way in to stop them. These new ones are called quarter turn valves. That's the off position. That's the on position. Just turns 1/4 of a turn. They're really well made. The old style valves had a tendency to leak after you closed them the first time. So while you're in there, that's the time to replace it. This particular valve is one that will be coming out of the wall. Out of the wall up to the sink. This is a valve you would find if your supply line came out of the floor. Comes through the floor, then onto the sink. And you remember the new supply line I showed you? This is the end that goes to the faucet. This is the end that goes on the valve. And it's just so simple. Turn it on finger tight, put a wrench on it, give it just a little bit of a more turn, and check for leaks. You should be done.
Awesome. That's not too hard, and hopefully you've already got most of the plumbing in your house. If it's been done recently and all you want to do is a quick superficial update, then all you need to do is the faucet. But if you haven't had a renovation in a while, this is normal. Then you might want to come in and get a few extra parts.
Right, and if you are working with CPVC pipe, they're glue-on fittings. You want to start with a cleaner, then you want to apply the primer, then you want to apply the glue. You make sure that you pick a glue that's compatible with your pipe. CPVC. Okay, now let's get back to actually showing you how this faucet goes on the sink.
I'm gonna move. He's a little upset. Nana usually has him, and she's behind the camera right now, and he wants a cookie.
It's really, it's not difficult at all. I'm not going to tell you it's always comfortable to be laying under the sink to reach up and undo what's already there. But you'll be happy with yourself after it's finished. Okay, the faucet goes through the holes, and they're all standard 8-inch center faucets nowadays. Put the 2 nuts on the bottom. With these newer faucets now, they're making the nipples longer than they were because there's so many composite sinks that are a lot thicker, so you have to have more room for it to go through.
Go under there and look.
And I'm only going to put 1 nut on to, and I've got a good, that's the right size helper to have under the sink.
So when you're tightening that up, most of these faucets have that rubber kind of a liner under there so that water doesn't seep in there.
And this one, it was on there. I didn't hold it up to show you.
No, I know. But I hate it when those faucets are loose and you get mildew growing under there when you're doing dishes and you're just like, it's supposed to be clean. So
now this is the supply line. This is a real basic one. You can step up to a braided stainless steel if you'd like. There again, that goes on the bottom. And you've already replaced your, can I have a valve please?
Valve? We'll give you the 45.
You've already replaced your valve that's got the supply coming through the wall. So that screws onto the bottom of this supply line. You open the valve, check for leaks, and you've got a shiny new faucet with both handles and not the customized Manly Man vice grip handle.
So, I'm assuming before you replace anything, you got to shut off the water somewhere else.
Certainly.
If you're going to replace.
Cut off your main water supply.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to have a flooded kitchen or bathroom, and that's just not going to be any fun. So.
I keep coming back to these. These could throw them on the floor.
We're a mess today.
These could save you a lot of money and a lot of mess.
Yeah.
They're really simple. They're not expensive. Put them in the drawer in the house where you know where they're at. If you pop that leak, cut the pipe, stick it on there, call the plumber on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's not a holiday.
Yeah. So, and we've always got somebody in the store that can help you. You've had candy. You want to talk about how they'll help us out?
Sure. I've got quite a few people here that can help you. My wife's really good in the plumbing department. We've got Doug Foley here. We've got Andy Myers. So if you have any questions, we don't mind your questions. We don't mind them at all.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I'm sorry for the distraction of the little boy in bright green, but glad you guys could join us today and learn a little bit more about replacing a faucet in your kitchen or bathroom. And if you have any questions, just come on in or post them down below and we'll answer them as soon as we can. Thanks. And you hit the button.